Hi there, and welcome to Rain Radio, where we have juicy conversations that lead to powerful transformations. We are your hosts. I'm Naomi Calderon.
And I'm Lila Sage. And today's topic, which I'm not excited about at all, is who is living your life? I'm kidding. I'm really excited. So grab your journal and your drink, and put on your crown, and let's chat. What are you drinking?
It is, for our region, cold. It rained all freaking day yesterday. So I am currently drinking some honey lemon ginger hot tea. Although I may make myself a cup of homemade hot cocoa later.
That also sounds amazing.
Yes. What are you drinking?
It's like actually fall in the Midwest, complete with drear. So I am having, but I could be drinking this if it was 100 degrees outside. I'm having a black tea.
Same here, really, truly. This is a year-round drink for me, but okay.
Yeah. I have a black tea and a mug of water because I am that person.
Yeah. I do sometimes lay off the ginger in the summer just because it's hot enough. I don't always do it, but it is something I'd probably do it cold in the summer, though. But yes, dreary, rainy, foggy, cold, crappy. Our heater actually kicked on, if you can believe that. I know you're laughing.
I live in Middle America. My heater's been on since September.
I know.
That's because fall brought winter with it.
It did. Yeah. It's supposed to, if it makes you feel better, it's supposed to get down to 36 tonight.
It does make me feel slightly better.
Yeah, see?
Because we're getting 33 tonight.
God, we're going to be a whopping 3 degrees warmer. But we won't have snow, although our friend lives up in the mountains about an hour away, and they got 2.5 feet last night.
I feel better about my life now.
And a tree across their driveway, so they're kind of stuck. Yeah. The driveway or the road or something, but yeah. Yeah, no thanks. Anyway, we know who's not going to be living their life for a few days. They're going to be living their life stuck in their house. So let's talk who's living your life, Lila.
Oh my gosh. I am now. That's been a fun journey, though.
Right?
Should we explain to people what we mean by that?
Yeah, sort of. What really prompted the conversation today, this topic, was we're about to turn over the calendar to a new year soon. And there's something symbolic about it, even though really, truly, some people are probably going to be like, that's it, I'm never listening to you again. It's just another day. January 1 is really just another day. However, it's symbolic. There's this idea that we're wiping the slate clean and that we can start fresh, and we have all these big plans. And so we were talking about that kind of thing. And we stepped back and took a little bit bigger picture view of that. In a conversation recently with a friend, she loves how they live life in Italy. She loves that European lifestyle of having a 3-hour break at lunchtime. It's like, well, if you were a chiropractor or a vet tech, you might. They seem to take longer lunches. Certain industries do in this culture, but it's not a collective thing. And they don't stay working till 9 o'clock because of it over there. Their meals are approached different. Everything is just approached differently. And it works. And I'm like, so if you like that lifestyle, why not create it here? And her response was, well, it would never work here. I'm like, when did you decide that? Why do you say that? And because no one else around here lives this way. So we started looking at, well, what would it take to create that? And Lila and I have been talking about that. And I'm going to let her share her side of that. Mine is, when I was going through my schooling, one of our instructors, when she first started in the field, she decided she was going to take every August off, like the whole month. She was going to shut down, and she has a brick and mortar. And it's like, you can't do that, right? And it's like, why in the world not? And it's not just that she goes on vacation, like they shut the whole practice down. But she set herself up from the beginning, number one, with that intention. Number two, planning everything else around it so that that could be possible. And so she and her staff take the month of August off. Well,
I have to tell you, that is business goals for me.
I'm telling you what, it's, and that's, we get stuck in, oh, but we can't do it that way. Our culture doesn't this, but the business experts say that. Oh, but you don't understand because my kid's school, we have all these buts that show up. And so we started talking about it from the standpoint of, so then who exactly is living your life? If you're not doing the shit you want to do, and if everything that you want to do has a but that follows it, who's living your life? So talk to us about those business goals, because I know it's not August you want off necessarily. It's another month.
December is my month off. Yeah, December is my month off, and I'm claiming it. I am creating it. I am actualizing it. It doesn't exist yet, but I'm working on it. But
I was going to say, how much of this December do you have off?
I have like half of December off, which amuses me deeply and thrills me to no measure. Mm-hmm. But also, as you were, it's business goals because I intend to create an empire of sorts. I don't necessarily know it'll be Oprah level. It could. That would be exciting. But ideally, being able to give my staff that degree of freedom as well is what makes it business goals. But that's a little bit off topic. So for me, what comes up with who's living your life is more with your friend's example. She has looked at our American culture and decided that she can't live her life the way she wants to live it because the rest of our culture doesn't do that. And my work in the world, my intention with the way that I live my life and the way that I raise my minis is to disagree with all of that. I work part-time so that I can be accessible to my babies. I'm growing and building a business that can sustain us so that I can be home by 4, so that we can have dinner when we want to have dinner, so that when it's someone's birthday, I can go to school and have lunch with them. There's only one child whose birthday is during the school year, but, I am currently realizing that perhaps we are not meant for the American educational system. And I'm starting to look at all of the alternatives. And the cool thing about me is that everything that I do and everything that I create is really from that desire to be the one living my life and to not let, our society's dictate of you have to work a 9-to-5 job. Your kids have to go to daycare. My children did not. I don't know. What else are some of the weird things? They have to be vaccinated. Don't come for me, y'all.
We have all sorts of shoulds in our culture.
So many that I don't follow. And yet, standing on, I am a single mom. I'm in a relationship currently, but for the last 15 years, it's been me and my three, occasionally their dad, and my mom for 3 years. But all of that no to the 9 to 5 job and no to the daycare and all of those things has been 100% me. So I think that the importance of that, and the reason that I bring it up, is if you're in any sort of situation like that, do not think that, I did it because I had help. I did it because, there were grandparents or whatever. No, I figured it out. I prayed and then I followed my guidance. And it was not glamorous or sunshine and roses the whole time, but it was absolutely worth it because it was how I wanted to live and how I wanted to raise my babies.
Well, and I think that brings us, and I know that we've talked about it on other calls, and I'm sure it will come up on many more calls, because it's kind of the cornerstone, is knowing and understanding your values and your priorities is so important, because you could have gone and gotten a 9 to 5 instead. That maybe would have, because you instead chose, there were times you couch surfed.
Yep, it happened.
And you and your 3 minis lived with friends in their living rooms or in a spare bedroom or whatever it was.
Also happened.
I know some people, I know one person in general, and sometimes when you're in relationship, there's a thing called compromise. Like for me, I'd cohabitate with another family in a heartbeat. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Obviously depending on the family. Because where I live is an really expensive area of the country to live. My half side? Absolutely not. No way. Maybe if somebody had like a mother-in-law cottage on their property that was, fully its own thing, he would do. But outside of that, no. And I'm like, really? I know someone else who, when they and their spouse split, they were like, no, I'm over 50. I'm not having a roommate. I'm like, why not?
I agree. But anyways, I digress.
Right. To them, it's weird. To me, it's like, are you kidding me? You know how much money you save? It's really great. You can afford a bigger place for less money, et cetera, et cetera. And it fits my lifestyle and it fits my personality. It doesn't fit for everyone. So you have to know and understand what your values and priorities are. For other people to have said, I'm not going to have the 9 to 5 because I want to be able to be there for my babies when they need me. So even if it means that's at the expense of having our own place. For some people that wouldn't have worked. Great. It obviously worked for you. You were willing to say, this is how I'm going to live my life. And that's what I want people to start really looking at. Yes, I have my own agenda for what you people need to see. Is what are some of the things? Are you like Lila, where you want all of your December off? This year she's getting half. And we'll talk about that in a minute, because that was intentional but not expected, right? This year?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So are you like that? Are you like the woman I talked about earlier, who she and her entire staff have August off? Are you wanting to sell I know a few different coaches who've done this. Now what's interesting is all of the coaches I know who have done this are single. Curious how it would work for somebody who's married, or if it would. Probably, just depends. But they have let their lease on their place go, sold the majority of their belongings, and they've basically become some kind of weird homeless nomad, and they work from the road. But it's not that they're homeless and broke. They're addressless.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's addressless by choice. Yeah. And now for me, I don't know that, And I've moved a lot, you guys. And I don't know if having no address would work for me. I'm somewhere in the middle. My husband's have the same address for 10 years type of guy, and I'm the, okay, it's time to move because it's been a year and a half, So I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek, but what are your values and priorities? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you've told yourself isn't possible because our culture has some bullshit thing made up that says you can't X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And what do you need to move beyond that? Watch some millennials these days. We might mock them all, but you want a generation who's willing to create whatever the fuck they want in whatever way they want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go write a travel blog and just travel all of my life. You're going to do what? Don't you need to be responsible and have a job? But what about this? And what about your bills?
It is a job.
I know. They're willing to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Where have maybe we've expanded our box, but maybe we're still in a box.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm crawling out of my box.
I know, right? I'm like, la 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 la, I'm out of my box. Oh shit, I better run back in. It's safe in there. I know it in there. But as we get to 2020, we just had a new moon. It's a new decade. We're turning over the calendar page, and a new leaf, whatever. It's all of that's symbolic, but that symbology means something to us as human beings. So if you need to use that to harness it, great. Use this time to plan now, but plan it not from a standpoint of all the things. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. What is it you want? Well, how it comes up is, what the fuck do you want? What do you want? Sorry, but that was really strong, so I'm like, so I better say it. What is it that you want in your life, and what is it that you have in your life where you've been putting up with it, and it's time to let that shit go?
Oh my goodness. My absolutely amazing school system. That's not sarcasm. I love this school system. It works for the people that it works for. Mm-hmm. It worked for me. I went to high school here. I loved it. I wanted my children in school here. My 13-year-old is not thriving. Straight A student, not thriving. Gonna have to throw the whole school system away. So upset by it.
So throwing it out doesn't sound like it completely, and that might be a whole other topic, doesn't sound like that's going to create complete thriving either.
We're going to find out. And it is a whole other conversation, but I am almost every day. So, y'all, I'm hard-headed. In case you haven't noticed by now over the last however many episodes, I'm not really the kind of person who immediately takes information from spirit and goes, oh, I'm going to, do what you told me to do. I'm more like, perfect example, I split up from my first husband, and any time that I thought about reconciling with him, the universe would be like, hey, here's another stupid thing he did, and you're separated. Are you sure you want to pull that back into your life? And I was like, oof, I think not. So here we are. My son is struggling in this amazing school system, and I've been like, can I get some help? Can I get some help? Can I get some help? When really what I want to do is homeschool him. And so the universe has been like, oh, here's a parent who works full-time who homeschools. You can also homeschool. Oh, here's several homeschool organizations. You can also homeschool. Oh, here is a child who creates his own homeschool curriculum. And I'm like, this might be an option for me.
I wonder what homeschooling if that's something I could do. Well, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate for just a minute.
Let's do it.
All right. Does homeschooling him fit in with all the other things that you said, this is what I want to craft and create my life to be?
Yes. So this is a values conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because my value as a mom is in teaching them exactly what I teach my clients. Live your life your way.
Mm-hmm.
So teaching him that he doesn't have to fit into a construct that does not help him thrive by working with him to create a construct that does, or maybe we just don't have constructs. I don't know. But working with him to create something that works for him so that he thrives it's more important than all the other things. So and then along with that, I get to decide, because what Naomi hasn't said is, like, you like a lot of space. You're not going to have any space if you have this kid 24/7. I won't.
Well, and if you're homeschooling, and this is because, again, I have plants. So in my mind, homeschooling takes up so much mother effing time. When the hell are you going to work your business? When are you going to be at the spa? See, and that's because most of the people I know that homeschool, their husbands apparently make bank, and so they don't have other jobs of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
Or they have, or they're involved in an MLM. Please, anybody in an MLM, I am not against the MLM, but they're the people who do them more as hobbies than actually as a business.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't have to be bringing in income. You're a single parent. Yes, you live with a quarter side right now, but you are a single parent.
Mm-hmm. So, for instance,
in my mind, it's like 8 to 3:30 that you're homeschooling. In my head, because that's how long school is, right?
Right.
Because I don't know. I don't know these things.
Homeschooling happens. Okay, so if I traditionally homeschool, if I sit down my kids every day and I'm their teacher, I'm not cut out for that, y'all. Please understand that's not going to happen at my house. But if I did, it would be an average of 4 hours a day that we would be doing that. Yeah. Homeschooling can happen in a way shorter time than a classic school day, first of all.
Why aren't we all freaking homeschooling then?
Because a lot of us have 9-to-5 jobs.
Oh,
who's going to be homeschooling those kids?
Okay.
So, but not only that, let's say Lucas is still super interested in and nerdy about robotics. There's so much that he can do with the subject of robotics to teach himself history and math and science and art, and I don't need to be involved.
Right.
He will check out a mountain of books from the library. We have a problem. I don't know why they let us have out 75 books at a time, because my children will try. He can check out a mountain of books from the library. He can sit and build, and he has. He has sat and built circuitry boards. He has sat and designed Lego whatevers. I mean, he can get full on nerdy all by himself, and I can assign him, okay, so this is your topic. Well, then teach me about it. Teach me about the history of Legos, robotics, the first robot. What was it? Who built it? How did they, that's learning.
Right.
And it can be him-led. I don't want them to get the idea that the only way that they can learn something is by sitting in a classroom having someone else parrot to them from a book. Not that all school systems are like that, but I definitely don't want them to think that that is the only way that they can learn. And they know that that's not the case because I'm raising them.
Right. Well, and what's great about all of that is, what I hear in that is, you're teaching him to live life on his terms. He will thrive, which all of that fits into your value system and still allows you time to focus on your business and your clients.
Yeah.
It reduces the headache you have been having with the school system. And I know that it's not, folks who are listening to this, let me tell you, it is not like this is a brand new problem that she's only been trying to solve for a couple months.
No, it's 5 years old, y'all.
Yeah. So less stress for you, which also adds to the how I want to live my life conversation, right?
Yeah.
So it has you walking your talk in all sorts of ways.
So if I were to leave my son in the school system, keep pushing, try to force him to fit into this construct that's not currently working for him, then our school district would be living our lives and not us.
Mm-hmm. And I love that there are so many options for people who want to homeschool now compared to back in the day 127 years ago. When I was in college, there was someone, and I'm actually still friends with him and his wife, that I went to school with, and he was homeschooled. And it was the weirdest, most unusual thing to meet somebody who'd been homeschooled. What kind of weird, nerdy thing is that? Nobody did that. Were you like, was something wrong with you that you were homeschooled? Are you like super, super smart and the rest of us are too dumb to understand? Why were you? It was not the norm. Now, at least here, it's like, okay, this is a totally made up statistic, so just know that. 43% of the kids around here are homeschooled.
Yeah, it might not be made up. It might be bigger than that, too.
Well, exactly. My first thought was over 50%. But it seems like every time I turn around, somebody's like, oh, yeah, my kids are homeschooled. Oh, yeah, I homeschool my kids. I'm like, what? Now, me, I own plants. That sounds like a torturous hell. But but you have to remember what homeschool looks like in my head. But so it's about taking that, and you're not only creating a life on your terms and you living your life instead of the school system living your life, instead of our societal demands, and that demand is in quotes. You can't see it, though, air quotes. It's about creating the life you want, which is happy, thriving kids in a headache-free environment for you and them, where they're learning, where you still have time for the other things that are important, like building a business so that you can have a roof over your head. And if you're sleeping on the couch, it's because you fell asleep taking a nap, not because you're sleeping on somebody's couch. It's all the things.
And my children are not babies. No. I mean, when they were babies, they were also homeschooled. Like, preschool happened at, like, Mom was the preschool teacher. Mom taught them colors and shapes and numbers and how to read and the whole shebang. Lee didn't learn how to tie his shoes until he was 11. Whatever.
Yay,
but Lily learned how to tie her shoes when she was 3. You can't teach a fish how to climb a tree.
Absolutely.
Every child is different. Every person is different. But, so I did an open house this morning with a spa that I partner with. And Summer had her daughter there. And, how much did she learn today? She got to flex her math skills. She multiplied. There was some multiplying going on. She got to deepen her social skills because she ran the cash register. And she got to experience Mom running a business. Homeschooling my children doesn't take anything away from running my business. I can certify them and they can run bars.
Cool. And for those of you who don't know what bars is, it's not alcohol. We're not talking go to the bar. It's energy work.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Just in
that
case
kind
you
of
wondered.
parent.
My kids
They
run
could
the
run
bar.
all
Wait,
the
what?
bars at 11, 13, and 15. No, the bars would get shut down. Access bars is an energy healing modality. Yes, yes.
There you go. Well,
But, I mean, yeah, there's
schools now,
so many opportunities.
yes. In schools now, there are actually degrees and programs for entrepreneurship.
And I love that.
My friend's daughter is in one. They didn't have those when I was in school. The course now I would take. I'm like, oh, that's so freaking awesome. How come they didn't have that when I was in school? And I wouldn't have been ready for it when I was in school. I'll just be honest.
Your school system was designed to turn out factory workers and professionals, though, like doctors and lawyers.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Absolutely, 100%. That's what our American school system was based on. And you have created the life that you want. And it's a work in progress.
It is a work in progress, but I'm very proud of it.
And I want to bring us back to the December conversation so that people, as they're planning out, when I say planning out your 2020, this isn't to grab your calendar and mark out your goals and mark out your milestones. All of that stuff is important, in my opinion. You know, you can't get to Albuquerque if you don't actually decide to go there and you don't have GPS or a map or a something. You can't just get in your car and turn it on and go with no plan. You might get there, you might not. It might take 6 months, might take 6 hours, might take 6 weeks, might never get there. You might end up in, I don't know, British Columbia. So all of that's important, but what we're talking about is simply, what is it that I want in my life? What would a day in the life of me look like? What would, if I had my whole year, for me, I would like to travel once a quarter, whether it's abroad or stateside. My half side doesn't like going abroad, so probably would be a mix. But I'd like to take a full week off once a quarter. I used to think I wanted a full month off. I'd rather take a full week of travel once a quarter. Go somewhere, do something fun, out of the state, maybe out of the country. That's what we're looking at. So it's not about the plotting and the planning and the goals and the milestones and all of that. It's about, what do you want in your life? What do you want more of? What do you want to say more yes to more? What do you want to say no to? Not just more, but completely. What are you letting go of? And one of the things Lila had set, when did you set that you wanted December off? When did you first start playing with that?
It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So this year, you have half the month off. Can you talk a little bit about how that happened? Did you say in September, I am taking half of the month off this year?
No. So for those of you who don't know, I have a day job. It's a very part-time day job because I value working less than 30 hours a week, no matter what I do as work. And when I decided I wanted to take December off, it's because these lovely little monsters that I gave birth to went and got socialized. And so...
Well, and one of them decided to be born when you were,
That's when it started, 11 years ago, when this little nightmare was 3 weeks late in his arrival onto the planet and hijacked my favorite month of the year. So my birthday is December 7th and Christmas is December 25th. And so December is a party for me. That is until King Lee was born. King Lee disrupted the party. And then 2 or 3 years ago, he further disrupted the party by having plans in December, like concerts, and his older brother did robotics, and so they had, their qualifier was literally in the middle of my birthday weekend. So I spent 9 hours in the middle of birthday weekend being a robotics mom, which is not the hardest job in the world, let me tell you. But it was not the most thrilling experience of my life either. And I was still not as healthy as I am now. I was exhausted. I was grumpy. It was just the whole thing. And I was like, I want It wasn't like I'm going to. It was like I really want to take December off. And then I switched jobs, and I really want to I am growing my business so that I work for me, so that when December rolls around, I don't work. We do 2 birthdays, we do Christmas, and we do whatever else we want to do, but I am not a crazy person. So last month, September, something like that, I realized that, like, I'm still going to have a day job come this December. Oh, well. I actually did not change my goal. My goal was to quit my job November 30th, which is tomorrow, so that I could have December off. I did not change my goal. I'm still reaching for it. If I hit the lotto in the next 24 hours, it could happen. Right. But I digress. So one of our key staff members is taking 2.5 weeks off. So I have the entire week of Christmas off, which is fantastic. And then there are several other shifts that will be short shifts because she's going to be missing. So I basically have half the month off, which is great. And I put myself in a financial position where I'm not going to cry for having half that month off. Actually, I think at the open house today, I made that money.
See? So you got really intentional, and I think that that's the first thing, and that's where when I say who's living your life and let's plan, more air quotes, for 2020, it's about, or planning for the new year if you're listening to this in the future, and it's a whole different year than 2020 coming up. It's about planning by getting clear on what do you want, and then setting that intention and knowing that's what I'm working towards, and letting go of what it has to look like. Yes, I love the fact that you're like, and it's tomorrow and there is still time. Because don't quit till you hit that finish line, people. And you know what? If it ends up December 1st comes and you still have your job and not quite in the place to where you can leave it, okay.
I'm going to celebrate like nobody's business. And here's why I'm going to celebrate like nobody's business. Because I think this is a really important conversation. Typically, we set goals and then we don't hit them. And then we are like distraught. Rather than honoring and acknowledging the steps that we made towards that goal. So what if I quit my job December 31st or January 31st? Am I going to be like, well, I didn't quit it November 30th, so I'm a loser?
I suck.
No, I am still going to do the happiest of happy dances because I'm a step closer. I'm 8 steps closer. I got 4 new clients today. I'm stoked.
That's so freaking awesome. See, yeah, that's just fantastic. And so does your December look like what you want it to in the future? No. And did it look like what you thought it was going to in September? No. You thought you were going to probably have to work the whole month. Well, guess what? Now you have half of it off. How freaking awesome. And so sometimes, yes, we have to look at, and we've talked about this before, and there will be more conversations in the future, recognizing it when it doesn't look like what you thought, and great, acknowledging, like you said, acknowledging the fact that, and celebrating the fact that it's coming, it's happening. This is my black and whiteness. Is it either is or it isn't, and you don't have the full month off. This is in the past. This is how I would have thought, you guys. You don't have the full month off, and so therefore, it's not it. It's still fine, but it isn't it. And sometimes we have to remember that with time and things that unfold. They may not unfold all at once, but it doesn't mean that they're not unfolding.
Mhm.
So it's a half a month this year. Great. Can't wait to be talking to you in December 2020. And you're like, I got the whole month off. I got the whole month off. I
So we're in
created this bitches.
Colorado, enjoying the mountains because I have the entire month off. That's how
Okay, that just sounded really, really cold to me. But okay.
Yeah, December's supposed to be. That's the way we want it. We only want December cold though. The rest of the time we don't want cold. Like
right.
I really want like that winter wonderland experience.
Oh, okay.
But on purpose.
Right. Not because you have to drive to your work.
Exactly.
So people who are listening, folks who have tuned in, what do you want to create? What do you want in your life that you've been somedaying? What are the things in your life that you've said, oh, but our culture doesn't really support, 3-hour lunches and being done with work by 5:30 every day or 6. Our culture doesn't support fill in the blank. Well, but you don't understand because. What are those things? Instead of dismissing them, can you go back and play? What would it look like? What could it look like? What would it take? What if I could manifest an Italian lifestyle here in America? Mm-hmm. What would it look like if I created an Italian lifestyle in Italy, and that's where I lived? For her, not me. For my friend, not me. That's not where I'd probably go, and it would be a long distance relationship with my husband, so that would suck. Because he ain't going. Yeah. But what do you want? Yeah, we do like him. It's so easy to get stuck in the but you don't understand. It's easy to get caught up in our day to day and forget to do this. It's easy to let the doubt creep in. It's easy to buy into other people's bullshit about what your life should look like. What do you need to do? What can you do to set that down? What can you do for yourself to create the life so you're living your life? Someone else isn't dictating what that looks like.
I'm also going to add to that. When you're looking at your world, when you're looking at your year and your life, and thinking about the questions that Naomi posed, what is the essence of the thing that you're after? Because you might think that you want 3-hour lunch breaks, for instance, when the essence of the thing that you're after is just a more relaxed pace to your day. You might be able to get that without the 3-hour lunch break. I wanted, before I ever had children, I was one of those crazy people that dreamed of having a small African village of children. I'm not exaggerating. I wanted 12 kids. And I wanted to be a full-time stay-at-home mom who homeschooled her kids. I'm insane. And so, but the essence of that is I raise my children. Children are born, and then 6 weeks later at max, they go to daycare, and then that is it, from daycare to school, and then they're 18. And I refused. I insisted on raising them. So it did not look like marrying someone who financially provided for us or having a thriving business that, gave me residual and passive income that allowed me to be home with them full time. It looked like me being addressless with my children for 4 years while I got on my feet and figured it out. But that was more important to me than working a a 9 to 5 so
Mm-hmm.
that, and my children didn't know. They had no idea we were homeless. They were like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So don't think as much about the details of the thing that you think you want. Think
Mm-hmm.
about the essence of the thing that you think that you want, because the universe will bring you exactly that, and in probably far greater measure
Mm-hmm.
than if you try to do it yourself. That's been my experience.
Absolutely. Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. Well, and to look at I want to take a week off each quarter, that's kind of getting into the details. Really what it is, I want the freedom and the ability to travel when I feel like it. That's the essence of when I say I want to do a week off a quarter. I don't really give a shit if I take a week off a quarter or if I go on a 2-week vacation once a year. I don't really care. But I want to be able to drop what I have going on. Well, probably not drop it in the moment because I am a planner. I know myself well enough. But to be able to say, like 2 years ago when my aunt died, to be able to fly home for the funeral and to be with all the relatives. It was the first time I'd seen one of my cousins in like 20 years, I think we decided.
Mm-hmm.
And when my cousin got married in Tucson, we went. It was awesome. I want to be able to have the freedom to do that, which means the time freedom and the financial freedom to do that. That's the essence of it.
Yep.
I just put my focus on the time off to travel because traveling is something that I haven't done a lot of in the last 7 years, 9 years. And I really enjoy it. And it's like, well, why in the world not? Because I haven't been putting a focus on my intention and the essence of it. So, yes, focus on the essence and the intention. Drop into not just what do you want it to look like, 1 week, a quarter off, but what's it going to feel like? For me, that feels like freedom. For me, that feels like choice and fun and excitement. I'm going to toss in curiosity. Just don't tell my husband that I'm using that word on purpose. Because then I get to go meet new people and be immersed in new cultures and things like that. What is it that what do you want it to feel like? That coupled with the essence and the intention and the conviction in knowing you can live your life on your terms, assuming it doesn't break a law, because there are consequences sometimes, but living life on your terms, choice is a powerful thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that essence piece. If any of you, because I know some people who are listening are very kinesthetic and getting into the essence of something is probably fairly easy. For those of you who are tapping in to listening to the call and kind of trying to tap into that and you're like, I don't have any idea what they mean, especially those of you who are more inner nerds like me and more researchy and planners, that part may be a little more challenging. May not. If you find you're like, I'm not sure what the essence of this is because I'm down in the minutia and you need some support, reach out, pop a comment, send us an email, find us. We're happy to help with that.
Absolutely.
Go live your life on your terms, damn it.
The end.
Pretty much.
Thank you for listening, and I'm really ending it here. This is the perfect place to end it.
I think so. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.